This is KGW News at noon.
From the mountain to the coast, we are giving you a live look at the beautiful weather we've got across the area this noon. You can see the Rose City there, Timberline, you see a little sliver, I think, of blue, maybe a little bit. The Reserve Vineyards and golf clubs in Aloha and Lincoln City there too. Rod, looking gorgeous out there, but I hear it's supposed to warm up a bit because right now it's kind of cold still.
Yeah, we are going to be warming up. I don't know if it's going to be noticeable. Yesterday we hit 50. Today we're at least up into the 50s, I think, in the coming hours. I do want to point out real quick, we were outside early this morning. We had all that frost on the ground again. It was really cold. And these temperatures, 27 in Hood River, 25 in Kelso. These are the lows this morning. 26 in McMinnville and Hillsboro, 30 in downtown and out at PDX rather. Pretty much matching the temperatures, the cold start that we had 24 hours ago. It was in fact 9 out in Burns this morning. But as you pointed out, we are now warming up. Here are the temperatures to go with the cameras. Lincoln City from Chinook Winds Casino Resort. 56. No complaints there. This may be the last day that we see snow on the ground at 1,500 feet on the golf course up at the Mount Hood, Oregon Resort in Welch's. With the warming today and the even warmer temperatures coming tomorrow, they may finally lose all of that. It's been on the ground for quite a while. Portland, we're at 46 degrees. I've actually upped our high temperature to 53, thinking we're at least going to be up into the 50s. I had 51. And then still 45 and mainly clear, we'll call it for you this evening. Warmer tomorrow, but weekend rain. We'll talk about all that coming up.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Rod. From the weather to the White House now. Later today, President Biden will give his annual State of the Union address. A lot of people are viewing this as a sort of unofficial kickoff to the general election campaigns after a decisive Super Tuesday. This will be Biden's third State of the Union speech. NBC's Gabe Gutierrez has more on what we can expect.
With the race for the White House kicking into high gear after Super Tuesday, President Biden is preparing to deliver perhaps the most significant address of his presidency.
The president will outline an agenda that is about continuing to build on the progress that we've made over the last 3 years.
The president expected to hammer several themes in this State of the Union address: an improving economy, reproductive rights, and preserving democracy. And despite trailing Mr. Trump in recent polls on securing the border, President Biden is expected to highlight his immigration policies after House Republicans tanked a bipartisan border security bill. Still, he faces a slew of challenges as election season ramps up. Persistent voter concerns about his age, his handling of the Israel-Hamas war, with some Democrats voicing their disapproval by voting uncommitted in recent primaries, and high food prices due to inflation.
Attack my office. I'll give you a copy. I'll give you a copy of the proposal.
Last year, some Republican members of Congress interrupted his address. This year, the White House says
He's ready for anything, as you saw him literally do that last year.
The speech coming as the general election rematch takes shape. After Donald Trump won almost every Super Tuesday state, his rival Nikki Haley suspended her campaign.
It is now up to Donald Trump to earn the votes of those in our party and beyond it who did not support him. And I hope he does that.
The former president securing the endorsement of Mitch McConnell, who had sharply criticized him over his conduct on January 6th. Recent polls show Mr. Trump leading President Biden within the margin of error. And after skipping GOP primary debates, Mr. Trump is now calling on President Biden to debate him anytime, anywhere, any place.
He's the worst president in the history of our country.
That was Gabe Gutierrez reporting. The State of the Union starts at 6 o'clock our time, which means some changes to our KGW programming. If you take a look at your screen, you can see them. We'll have KGW News at 4 and 5, then nightly news at 5:30. All is normally scheduled, but then the address starts at 6. We'll then have a special edition of KGW News at 9 o'clock. Police in Gresham are hoping you can help them find this missing woman. Take a look at your screen. She went missing from her care home on Southeast 205th Place around 7 o'clock last night. Investigators say Maria Reed has a condition requiring medication, which she does not have. She was last seen wearing a white shirt, gray shorts, and black shoes. Call 911 if you see her. Portland Commissioner Carmen Rubio is putting a pause on odor complaints in the city after a Northeast Portland Vietnamese restaurant closed last month because of a complaint about the smell. We told you last week how the city of Portland was fining Pho Gabo for the smell that was coming from it. The fines stacked up, causing the restaurant to close. This week, in a statement, Rubio says questions are being raised about the policy's impact, and she's launching an immediate evaluation.
But this has been a pho restaurant for almost 30 years in this exact location, so it's been under different ownerships throughout this neighborhood. But it's important to note that this has been an establishment as a restaurant, as a Vietnamese pho restaurant for a long, long time, for decades.
Rubio says her goal is to see the city code change happen as soon as possible. Boeing is in some hot water again related to the investigation into the door plug blowout over Portland in January. The chair of the National Transportation Safety Board told a Senate committee yesterday that the company still has not handed over documents and information that the agency requested a couple months back. Chair Jennifer Homendy says the NTSB asked for documents specifically about the crew dealing with doors on MAX 9s, but Boeing hasn't gotten back to them.
And it's 2 months later. We know for a fact that there is a team that deals with the doors in Renton. There's an entire team of 25 people and a manager. The manager has been out on medical leave. We've not been able to interview that individual. We've asked for the names of the other 25 people, have not received the names.
So after that hearing, in a statement, Boeing said it handed over a list of everyone involved on the 737 door team. But if the door plug removal wasn't documented anywhere, there was no document to hand over, which is something Homendy took issue with, saying if the documents don't exist, it raises serious questions about Boeing's quality control and safety practices. And Alaska Airlines in the news again as well after one of their flights out of Portland had to make an emergency landing last night. Passengers on Alaska Flight 646 reported smelling what they thought were fumes on board. At this point, Alaska Airlines isn't being specific, but they're calling it an odor. The flight on its way to Phoenix turned back around and landed back at PDX around 6:30 p.m. 7 people on board, both passengers and crew members, requested medical evaluation, but no one went to the hospital. The Port of Portland put out a statement saying fire crews were unable to determine the cause of the smell, and Alaska Maintenance is now looking into it. There you see that statement from the Port of Portland. A quick note, the plane was a Boeing 737-800, which is different than the Boeing 737 MAX 9 involved in the door plug blowout back in January. A new sobering center is in the works for Portland. The city is trying to, yet again, address the well-documented addiction issues in Portland. As KGW's Blair Best explains, the center will serve as a place where first responders can drop people off who are experiencing a crisis.
Beyond the tents, RVs, and trash is pain.
I've been a heroin addict for almost 50 years, or fentanyl now.
Cam gets his drugs under this Central East Side overpass.
It's dangerous. It's really, really, really powerful stuff.
We were here 2 weeks ago.
Going downhill is not good.
When this man was withdrawing from fentanyl.
My stomach is stabbing and my feet won't stop moving. I just want to yawn out and scream every about 30 seconds.
A lot of people say that the kick isn't that bad from fentanyl. I think it's 10 times worse than heroin.
In September of last year, Multnomah County commissioners voted to put $150,000 toward planning and designing a 24/7 drop-off sobering center for people like the ones at this camp. Commissioner Julia Brim Edwards is leading the project. She released initial plans this week and is waiting to talk with KGW until they're approved.
It's kind of like the drunk tank.
Well, not exactly. It would be about 35 beds where first responders can take people in crisis, regardless of if they are willing to go or not, freeing up jails and emergency rooms.
I mean, how long do they keep you in there?
The plan is for 1 or 2 days, with the option of a third if the person is willing. But that's not long enough for people on fentanyl, Cam says.
The mistaken assumption that 5 days you're clean, and that's not true. You know, you don't kick in 5 days.
The Sobering Center's staff would connect people with further treatment if available. The center would potentially open in about 1 to 2 years. A timeline Portlanders like Nolan Nez argue doesn't match the need.
And our leadership continues to talk about how they have all these plans, 30-day plan, 90-day plan, a two-year wait on a sobering center. None of that is impacting anything that is happening on our streets right now. We don't have 2 years. These streets don't have 2 years. This is a clear and present issue on our streets right now.
Blair Best, KGW News.
To Salem now, where the Oregon legislature has passed a bill to criminalize drug use on public transportation. The bill now needs the governor's signature to become law. The legislation makes drug use on transit a high-level misdemeanor crime. That's 1 step below a felony and carries a maximum sentence of up to 364 days in jail, a $6,000 fine, or both. In a statement, TriMet says the change will help make buses and MAX trains safer for both operators and riders. Governor Tina Kotek is expected to sign that bill.